Hi, folks. Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, when or wherever you may be. Now, folks, you can see by the title of the video more or less what I will be talking about. But there will be no video clips in this rant. There will be no pictures. There will be absolutely nothing except me, the camera, and you. Okay? Let's have a little chat about a couple of things that I need to talk about. I went on a field trip into the world of maga, of the Republican Party, and in general to the American psyche to try to understand how these people function. I decided to watch a couple of transmissions, let's call it like this, news pieces. I cannot call that news pieces. But I saw Fox News. Yes, uh, I felt sick. I felt like I felt like I was in the set of some kind of dystopian future of a really bad sci-fi movie. You know those kinds of bad sci-fi movies of people living in hellscapes, but that you start to watch that shit, and then you want to see how it is going to end, and it always ends badly and leaves you with that sensation in the back of your mind saying, why the hell did I subject myself to this? And look, I'm not going to bore you with all the elations and ideas that I took from it, okay? I will save that for future analysis when it is needed. But I have a couple of key points that we really need to address. Uh, Number one, let's talk about this one because this one is one of the most fascinating phenomena in psychology. I'm just talking about strictly scientific perspective. Okay, uh, how can I say this? The Americans are talking about socialists and communism again as this big threat that is attacking their American way of life. Meaning, because they are their own enemies and the enemies of the world, they have regressed to their past when an actual threat existed called the Soviet Union. Okay, despite what Mr. Putin thinks, the Soviet Union was not good. We now know that the United States is not good too, but it was the better option between two hellholes, and we here in Europe, we were stuck in the fucking middle, getting exploited by both sides. A situation that I think has led to the recent alliance between Russia and the United States. They were clearly allied. At least Mr. Trump and his cronies were, and I believe they are probably still more or less aligned with Mr. Putin in their search for a way of destabilizing Europe enough so they can take advantage of us, like they have done in the last years. I know a lot of you will say, "Oh, but they save us in this World War II and this and that." Yes, my friend. I'm not denying, like I said this in other videos, but let me repeat this. So if you are an American and you are listening to me, you will understand this. I don't spit in the graves of the soldiers, American soldiers, that came here and fought the Nazis and helped us to recuperate more or less our way of life. I'm not at all. I'm not. I wouldn't even dare to do that. You want to know why? Because I respect those people. I respect the soldier. Even if a soldier has died for the wrong reasons, for stupid reasons in some occasions, I respect it. Because they believed they were doing their job, their duty, their mission to their country or ideals or whatever. Okay? Let's get this absolutely clear before I continue. But as I was saying, it seems to me that number one, they don't know in what decade they are living. Number two, they don't know in what world they are living. And number three, I think they're completely out of their minds. You know, when they voted Donald Trump again as their president, we had serious doubts about their mental stability. But right now, we can be absolutely sure that half of them are completely lunatics. I don't know if it's because of all the shit that they put in their food and in their water, their brain rot TV, their brain rot media, all of the stupid things that they worry about, like not knowing how to ask for a chilled drink in Europe and endlessly searching for buckets of ice that I really don't understand. What is the purpose of filling my drink with buckets of ice when I purchase a drink? I am buying a drink. No, right now I really don't drink that much. Okay, I never was that kind of guy to go on binge and purge and all of that shit. No, I drank when I went to see a concert and something like that, and or with, well, when I was with my friends. But mainly the things that I would drink would probably be beer. Talk about the stereotypes since I'm part German, but well, there are plenty of people around me that are full-blooded Portuguese, and they love beer too. But I would drink beer, you know, and I also liked vodka. I confess, I still liked it. I liked the taste of it. Whiskey or bourbon, no. They, to me, they taste like medicine and they give me headaches. But a nice glass of chilled vodka, maybe with a cube of ice on it. That was my, when I wanted to drink something other than beer, that is what I would drink. Don't give me cocktails, don't give me complicated shit. Just give me something good, okay? And sometimes also, of course, this is a wine land, and I personally like red wine. It's excellent with a meal, but honestly, I really don't drink that much, and right now even less, because you know when you grow a bit older, you understand that you have to spare yourself future illnesses and future issues that you might have. But as I was saying, but those hordes of Americans endlessly wandering through Europe in search of buckets of ice, in search of water. Apparently, they have lost the ability to ask for a glass of water at a restaurant. Something that is rather common, you know. And as I told you, I have been in more than one country in this big country of Europe, because Americans apparently think Europe is a country. They don't understand how different we are. Well, they are Americans, but continue. But you know, at least here, last time I went to the restaurant, um, I had a medicine that I was taking, and I didn't want to take my medicine with the soda that I was drinking. I was drinking soda, okay? I'm taking medicine, I don't drink alcohol, naturally. This was a couple of, I don't know, perhaps in April or something like that. And I went to the April this year, and I went to the restaurant. And you want to know what? I just asked the waiter and asked him to look, please bring me a glass of water because I want to take some medicine. But I could have asked him for a glass of water. Tap water. Tap water here is perfectly safe. Okay, it's perfectly normal. Even though many times we buy bottled water because we like the taste, or because some of us might have kidney issues or gallbladder issues, you know, those types of things. Because the water, especially all around in the Iberian Peninsula, it has a lot of iron. It's a bit heavy, so to speak. The water here is heavy, but it's you can drink it perfectly. The water that comes out in our taps is always adequate for you to drink normally. Okay, and when I'm at home, I sometimes drink bottled water. Sometimes I go to the tap, I fill a glass of water, and I drink it. Okay, it's not that unusual. And then I see these Americans, the ones that get the glass of water, complain that the waiter should have brought them the glass of water. Why? You don't have a mouth to ask? The waiter is a person that is doing a job and receiving a salary from an employer. He is not there to be your personal slave to tend to all your needs. Besides, the waiters, they probably have other things to do. You know, if you didn't, I worked in the business briefly. And when you are not serving the tables, you are doing something else. You are helping in the kitchen. You are cleaning the floor. You are bringing things in from the area where they are stored. Like, for example, fresh sodas to put in the freezer, or beer to put in the refrigerator that you have near the counter, usually, or inside, hidden, when you want to keep a certain aesthetic in the establishment, you know. And meaning the person is doing a lot of things because that person has a schedule and they have a contract and they need to work in order, in the end of the month, to receive their pay that their employer gives them as a compensation for their job. That person deserves respect, even if they are an asshole sometimes. But I'm not, I probably was not the smiliest, so to speak, of waiters, because you don't know me except from this, but I'm really not that kind of person that is always smiling. My parents used to tell me that if someone is smiling at you, they are either idiots or they want something from you. Okay, unless you're flirting with a girl or something like that, or playing around with your friends, of course. But in normal situations, to smile like an idiot is precisely that, to smile like an idiot. But continue. But I keep seeing, I'm ranting away, I'm sorry, I know, but bear with me. I keep seeing all of these Americans complaining about this thing. stupid things like iced coffee. If you want to know, I really don't like iced coffee, okay? Because number one, it's not iced coffee, it's an iced coffee drink, which is something completely different. And look, and it's all right if you like it, okay? I know plenty of people that like it. I have friends that like it. Sometimes I go out with with these two friends. They are girls. We go out and we go talk because we have been friends since childhood. Really, yes, friends. You can be friend with a woman, okay? You can be friends with one. That is another stupid idea that I really don't understand because most of my friends were the majority of my friends were really women, and I have never had an issue with that. And yes, I'm straight, okay? I have no issues with gay people or whatever, but I'm straight. I like women, okay? But continue. But as I was saying, these people, they arrive to our countries. In this case, I don't know, to Portugal, to Spain, to France, to the Netherlands. And apparently, they expect things to be exactly the same here as they are in their land. And I really don't understand why. Look, I'm speaking in English with you. But if you arrive here and you were talking, I could just tell you, speak Portuguese, motherfucker. I don't need to speak English with you. The only reason why Europeans speak other languages is because it makes everybody's life easier. No. When I'm talking with a French person, no, je parle français, n'est-ce pas? C'est plus facile pour moi et pour l'autre personne. Und wenn ich Deutschen gesprochen, ich gesproche Deutsch. Das ist nicht ein Problem für mich. Y también se puede hablar castellano. Me da igual. Eu puedo hablar italiano. You understand? Sorry for this vulgar display of anything, really. I'm ranting away, but the point I'm trying to make to you is this. We speak different languages because it makes it easier for everyone. When I'm talking with a friend of mine from Poland, I don't speak a word of Polish. He doesn't speak a word of Portuguese. This isn't an example, okay? But if both of us speak English or French, then we can talk with each other with no issues. We can understand each other. When I'm working, if I'm talking with someone that doesn't understand my language, to speak in English, for example, it's a tool. It has nothing to do. It has nothing to do with recognizing some kind of, I don't know, supremacy of culture or whatever. No. Let me tell you a secret, my dear Americans. The type of English that they speak the British Isles in the different regions of England, for example, in Wales, where they also speak their own Gaelic language, or in Scotland, where of course they also speak their own language, and even their variation of what of spoken English. You have to listen with attentive to what they are saying to understand. But the type of English that is spoken in the United States is what I would refer to as a simpleton's English. It's a deconstructed language that you have very few writers currently that are able to reach a certain richness of the language. You had H.P. Lovecraft, which was a bit of a lunatic, I know, but he wanted to write like if it was the 19th century or something like that. But I like Lovecraft. Okay, have no issues with it, with even with all his of his hang-ups and lunatic. But it's something to. But the guy had something richness in in his language. Currently, you perhaps have someone like Stephen King, but all of those so-called very literate writers and all of that, even if there's richness in the subject and the construction that they make of English, you know, even Bukowski, the guy might have been a bit of a Charles Bukowski. He might have been a bit of a lunatic, but the way that he writes is a completely different thing. But in general terms, your language is rather simple. It's easy to learn. And this is why people speak it, because just like in the 1500s, they would speak Portuguese and Spanish, and then they would speak perhaps French and Dutch or something like that, and then they started to speak English. Or before that, when everyone in the medieval period spoke Latin, because that was the way people understood each other. When kings in the medieval times, when they wanted to talk among each other, even with the Muslim world, okay, when they wanted to talk with each other, they would write in Latin, okay, because there would be someone that understands the language that would translate it to the kings. And if the king was an educated person, which frankly rarely they were, this is also another truth that you really don't understand about the medieval period, but let's not get into that. But they would speak Latin because everyone would know it. And this is exactly the same reason why we speak English today, because it's simple. Imagine me talking with with a Chinese person. I know a couple of words and I understand a couple of things in colloquial Mandarin, like saying "谢谢," a very important word that you Americans should learn. Go and try to see what "谢谢" means, or to introduce yourself, like for example, uh, "ni hao," which is something like "hello," "bonjour," and João Marreiros, okay? My name is João Marreiros. These simple sayings, to say thank you, to say hello, to ask for directions, to know how to say right and left, okay? But if you speak English, normally there will be someone that can understand you and that can help you. And I know that now you have the Google Translator and all of that, but those things fail sometimes. And they fail to give a kind of humanity in your relationship with other people. Frankly, with me, whenever people try to speak with me with the bloody thing of the Google Translator, I tell them to fuck off with them. Okay? Speak in one of the languages that I speak, and I speak a lot of them. I just mentioned a couple. But everything fails, speak in English. Okay? But the Americans come here to Europe. And I was watching Fox News, as I sadly told you. God. And they have this entitlement sense that, look, I really don't know how to describe it. And now they are talking about the communist threat. Zoran Mandani is a socialist. Yes, what's wrong with that? A socialist is not a communist. You know that? They are completely different people. And to be a modern socialist and a socialist in the 30s of the 20th century, it's also something completely different. It has nothing to do with current socialism. Socialism, modern socialism, at least in the way it is spoken of and interpreted and applied in Europe, it has to do with more social policies, meaning more policies that give the prevalence to the well-being of people in society. And when you come here to Europe, almost all of the countries here, we are capitalists, but we are social capitalists, which is a completely different animal of the mutant neoliberal variation that you have in the United States. And this is where I find it even reasonable to see Mr. Trump talking about the communist danger. They have to win the midterms, they have to win the leaps because the Democrats have been taken over by the social strain in their party. And I heard that girl, that woman, I don't know what's her name, in Fox News, the lunatic. Sorry, madam, I don't want to offend you, but your words are lunatic. But and she was talking about that they needed, if they did not uh, allied with Mr. Trump and with the Republicans to end the madness, then the socialists would own the Democratic Party for 40 years. And I had so many questions. Because, number one, even someone as liberal, let's call it like this, as Bernie Sanders, is not a socialist. Zoran Mandami, even if he says that he has socialist policies, and he has, if we look at it in the sense of social politics, he can say that, but he's not really what these people are saying a socialist is. And not a communist at all. Because you see, in the right, okay, you have, for example, you have people that are in the center. You have, I don't know, social democrats, which integrate a bit of social policies and of socialism into their policies. And then in the extremes, you have the neoliberals and the far right. And the Republican Party in the United States has combined both the neoliberals and the far right. So they are extremists. If you want to talk about far left extremists, then you have the communists, which in their purest form are extremists. They are, look, far left and far right, they're the same shit. They are both authoritarian and they both want to impose their ideas onto you and their way of doing things. They don't care if you are hurt, they don't care if it's not what you want, you will obey. That's what authoritarian means. And that is what these extremists are. The current American administration, they are clearly authoritarians because they do what they want to do. They don't listen to anyone and they don't care who they hurt as long as there is some kind of profit for them. So it's a kleptocracy. But let's continue with this part. But I see them return to this parody of the Red Scare of the 1950s of the 20th century in the United States. And they are just repeating the same formulas and then expect other countries and other blocs to buy that crap. You want to know what this sounds like? These types of, I cannot call that news, but these types of reports. You want to know what this sounds like to a normal European? It sounds like you are all mad, or that you are stupid, or that you have some kind of mental issue. It's the same way that I think about the people, the Americans, and the ice on the drinks and the water. They're not calling the waiter and all of this shit they seem to be unable to do. Like, for example, using cutlery while you are eating. Know how to use a fork and a knife. They seem to think that that is entrenching in their rights. No, my friends, it's civilization. Let me just address this one. You don't need to be a perfect gentleman at the table, okay? You are human. But using cutlery when you are at a restaurant or even at home. Look, I had my dinner a couple of hours ago. Okay, I was alone eating my dinner, working the computer, and I was using cutlery properly because these are habits that make you into people. If you want to understand a bit of that, you will find a lot in common in this aspect between Europeans and Japanese. The Japanese also have a way of doing things. I happen to like it, honestly. A way to eat, a way to drink. And this is not stifling your rights or your free will or your freedom. It has absolutely fucking nothing to do with that shit. It has to do to give you things that give you a bit of order. For example, in society, we are at a restaurant. Everyone is talking normally, not screaming. And I have had the misfortune of being at a restaurant at the same time that Americans were there. And let me just say this, we knew uh, anyone that was willing to listen to them knew their entire life story. I don't really know how you can scream that much, but imagine you are at a restaurant. Everyone is talking normally, having their meal, calmly talking with their friends and whatever. It's a gregarious activity that you, as a human being, enjoy. Because, people might be a bit introvert. I have said this in the past. I'm a bit of an introvert too. But even us introverts, we enjoy gregarious activities. Why? Because it's in human nature. We are gregarious animals. There is a scientific reason why when someone yawns near you, you will yawn too. Because when we were little monkeys, running away from predators, hiding from everything because we were the meal, we needed to have these collective uh, habits to protect the group because we were gregarious, we were part of a group. So you see, even that science can explain. It just, I don't think, but science, uh, like I said, it must be something in the water or in the food in the United States that is causing this. Because you want to know what? Some of those food additives and colors and all of that they put in the food, it has been scientifically proven that they create low IQ and hyperactivity in the person that consumes it and in their offspring. So you are not, when you are eating that shit, when you are allowing that shit to be in your food, you are not just damaging yourselves, you are also damaging your future offspring. Because you see, like it says in the Bible, the 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 children pay for their father's sins or some shit like that. You understand what I mean, okay? If you went to Catholic Sunday school, you will know what I'm talking about. But let me just continue with this part. But as I said, I watched Fox News, and I saw a lot of desperation. And let me be clear about this, okay? I have been highly critical of the Democratic Party. To me, nothing will really change, except perhaps having a more normal relationship between the United States and the rest of the world. Something that is beneficial for us, and hence we would like to see happening. But I really I don't think they know that that world in which they lived in is not going to return. People, for example, Europe is paying and receiving in digital euros. This is an example. Digital euros, not the digital euro that will come, that is already here, but for example, instead of paying for an international, imagine someone exports to Europe, instead of paying for that in dollars, you pay in euros. A lot of American companies that are importing from Europe, they are already paying in euros. And for example, in the BRICS countries, they are using the digital yuan, for example. You know, there are these direct payments. Europe is starting that system that will replace Mastercard and Visa and all of that. That is all going to be replaced. I think that in a couple of years, in 1 or 2 years the most, they will be something of the past. You see, the world is moving on, and Mr. Trump keeps on doing this crap in the Hormuz Strait because they are winning, so to speak, stealing, I would say, millions in the stock and bond market. But right now, the dollar is already going down because the richness in which the oil based itself, the petrodollar, is also crashing. But you won't see anyone in Fox News talk about that. You won't see it. You won't see them talk about the things that should really matter to you. Because all they are doing is repeating insults, propaganda, and outdated ideas. Let me tell you this. Salman Mandani, that seems to be a nice guy, honestly. He seems to be an honest person. I don't know the man. I don't know. I know a bit about his policies, but he seems to be an honest person. And no, I don't give a fuck that he's Muslim. I don't care about whatever imaginary friend you worship. I think religion should be kept inside of the house and not in society, and completely forbidden in politics. Nothing like that. Now, no prayer sessions in the White House with Mr. Trump. Very ironic for all of the reasons. The man is anything but a Christian. He's not even a heathen. Like I told you before, I was raised Catholic and big in German. No, I'm not going to tell that story again, and I don't want to talk much about it because it's related to my own intimate life, so to speak. But all of this mixed in batch in Fox News, it's absolutely revolting. And now they are more or less talking about the people that are criticizing Trump, talking about the consequences of his actions. Even they cannot ignore the truth. But they are still trying to find these scapegoats like the communist threat, and this and that. And we still see the United States trying to destabilize Europe. I will tell you this, and please, these are all rumors. But apparently, the United States was involved in what happened in Ceuta, in North Africa. Ceuta, that enclave or Spanish enclave. Apparently, I don't know if it's true or not. I just mention it because it's just one of many examples. Like Mr. Vance coming here to Hungary to say that that the what was his name? I'm so bad. I already forgotten the name of the guy. That the Hungarian guy. He was a great guy. Yes, he was. Stealing Hungary millions in in European funds that he used to build palaces while he told Europe that he was building roads and schools and hospitals. Okay, yes. Well, and that's but we know what the United States is doing around the world. We know what he tried to do in Brazil. We know what he has been trying to do in Canada, in Greenland. And you have to understand this. The jig is up, like you Americans say. We already know these tactics, and it won't work. And this entire speech that's coming out of the United States, it's being received with a mix of laughter and then a solid ignore the troll. And I think, Americans, that when people like me and others, the news channels, when we stop talking about you, except in those small located events that for any reason damage or benefit us, you should really be worried, because already the news here, they are tired of Mr. Trump. This shit. They repeat this. They say Trump said they're negotiating, and then they say Iran said they are not negotiating absolutely nothing. Because this is how the news are presented here. They will tell you what Mr. Trump said. But then they won't stop there like Fox News does. They will continue to investigate things. They will keep on it. And that is highly beneficial for everyone. And look, my friends, Portugal is not a paradise. Okay? Europe, the other countries of Europe, the EU, UK, it's not a paradise. Okay? It's not an utopia. But at least it functions, for fuck's sake. The United States, it doesn't function. You cannot live in that way. You want to know why? Because before Mr. Trump, this started perhaps with Reagan, and for his luck, the Cold War ended because the Soviet Union fell, the Berlin Wall fell, and the United States replaced themselves as the sole superpower of the world. So there was but when that started, that was when the fall began. Then you had Bush Jr., have the Gulf War with Bush Senior, then Bush Junior, and Bush Junior at least he was funny, and he was smart enough to allow smart people to tell him what to do. Look, you have to give credits what credits are due. He was smart enough to do this, but not Trump. He's going a full blown looter. He's looting. He's looting the Americans. He's looting the world, and he's causing a lot of troubles. He's causing death. He's causing hunger, and the world won't forget it. And people in Fox News, people in the Democrats, they don't understand. I'm not going. For example, Midas, they have a lot of publicity, and I understand they are making money, but sometimes they recycle and repeat the same thing. And I really don't think they really understand what is coming, the type of world that we will be living in. Okay, and me, look, I will continue to grow old if I am able to stay alive, and I will die. But expectedly, my nephews will be here, the people that come afterwards will be here, and I would like to leave them a better world than the world that I found. And I was a kid in the 80s, and we had drills here for nuclear war, for all of that. But at least they told us why. In school, in high school also, whenever there was a drill, you would all gather in the same room. You want to know why? So that when we all died, the rescue would know where our bodies, or what would remain of our bodies, would be. Still to this day, the area that I live in is a possible target for a nuclear strike because of its strategic location. So when I was living in my hometown, inland, I would perhaps have, I don't know, 3 or 4 minutes before the blast. And I would probably be cooked or incinerated by the blast of hot wind, or buried under rubble, or die of radiation sickness afterwards. Right now, I will probably have time to say shit or fuck me before I'm turned to dust. You learn to live with this shit. And right now, we are living a similar situation. Completely different, of course, we'll understand. But we are living in a world where we have a lunatic that can go off these rocks tomorrow. And like I told you in other videos, I'm not going to talk about the man's disease. I'm just talking about solely about his words and his actions. But the Americans would benefit to at least correct this. Try to put someone normal in power. Try to repair a couple of the relationships. But don't expect, like the Democrats are expecting, to have the same type of world that you used to have. Because the paradigm is completely changed. Europe doesn't want to depend on the United States ever again. Canada doesn't want to depend on the United States ever again. No one wants to depend on you. The Arab world, they don't want to depend on you. They want to find a way of getting rid of you. And as you can see in this video, I didn't mention Israel. You want to know why? Because they are also becoming irrelevant. They are burning all the bridges that they have in Europe. We know what they have been doing in secrecy. I think they are very secret. You know, They are very secretive, but they don't understand that the other people are not dumb. I always tell you about that advice that my father gave me, that when I want to understand why something has happened, I should see who is getting benefit by it. And there is the cause. Think about it. Think about who went on Fox News to talk about the European invaded when what happened in Ceuta happened. And also think about this. There are a lot of European countries that are taking note and that will want to repay the people that are doing this. You know who you are. To Europe, they will want to repay you in full. This is not a threat, okay? I told you, I'm not a violent person. I don't think violence really solves anything. Um, I think dealing with problems in a scientific way it's the best approach to do it. So, if the United States is a problem, then we have to do what the EU is doing, which is to disentangle our economy completely from the United States, to be more self-sufficient and self-reliant. What Canada is doing too. You are lucky to have Mr. Khan, Canada. Oh, what's up? I love the Canadians. You are great people. You are a bit like us, hardworking and quiet. We also don't like a lot of noise. Okay. Sometimes we like a bit of party, but then we love our silence and our work and our peace of mind. But continue. Let's not branch to that division. The conclusion that I drew from my travel field trip into maga media is that it's sad, it's simplistic, it's filled of attempts on emotional triggers that I understand will work in an American that is used to put his hand on his heart and give the pledge of allegiance or whatever the fuck they call that every day at school. That for people that grew up during the fight against the USSR and all of that, the people that were taught to consider socialism or communism as some kind of swear words or some kind of anathema to their culture, whatever. I understand those emotional triggers will work, but I will also understand this. If you are an adult, grow the fuck up. Look around you. See the state your country is. For God's sake, just read the messages that your president is giving you. And don't call it jokes. Okay? A president is the representative of the country. Look, just like your Secretary of War, just like your Secretary of State, look, just like everyone that acts in government, just like your 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 senators and all of that, just like everyone. You got to look at people, you got to listen to what they say, and you have to be a grown up and deal with it. You have to deal with the fact that the food that you are eating, that you are providing to your children, is not safe. There are countries in the world, and most of Europe does it, that considers your food to be poison. And this has nothing to do, well, this has nothing to do with being mean. It's because it really is poison. That red titanium or orange titanium or whatever, that that causes cancer, that causes mental issues, that causes hyperactivity. It's poison, for God's sake. You don't put poison in your food just because it's more convenient. You don't fill your food. Look, look at me, okay? Right now I'm going through my diet. I'm building up my muscles again because I used to be a very muscular and heavy guy, and I let myself go a bit over the years, like I told in previous streams. But I like sweet things. I like ice cream. Okay, I was a baker and a patisserie maker. Of course, I like to make cakes. I like all of that. But when I'm eating a hamburger, this is why I cannot digest the shit that they sell in McDonald's and all of that. Even here, where the ingredients and the level of sugar and salt is highly controlled. Okay, even here, they are built in house. But when I'm eating a hamburger, that hamburger meat should only contain two things: meat and meat. Nothing more. If I want to mix it with some breadcrumbs, with some seasoning, with some chopped garlic, with some chopped onions, with seasoning, and make them this way, all good. But if you are building up muscle, you will understand this. If I want to eat meat here, I will just eat the meat. Do you understand what I'm trying to tell you? If I want to eat the pasta, I will just eat the pasta. There aren't any additives in that food. Naturally, naturally, there are some preservatives in some food, but they are all made of things that are natural, biological, let's call it like this, that your body can digest. The outer casing of sausages here is made of animal tripe, for example, or animal cartilage that is processed with water. They make, it's a bit of a weird concussion, but basically they grab bones and cartilages and they make a soup that is turned into a gelatinous soup that then can be transformed into leaves and casings that you can encase meat products and all of that. Just to, but it's biological. And some people, I know some Americans will say, "Oh, how disgusting!" What is more disgusting? To have that tribe that is a part of an animal, even if it has been processed into something. But is it better to eat that or to eat something that is in yoga mats, for example? We are humans. We are animals. We are no different than any mammal in this country. In this world. You, your cat, and your dog, who are you? Animals. That is all. You cannot go on. Look, I'm going to end this video because if I continue to talk, I will be talking for another hour about this, and I don't think I should do that. I should reserve my mental sanity, but I will end by saying this. I would ask any American citizen that is watching my video for whatever reasons, even if you are just watching my videos to put in a mean comment and try to offend me, which is very difficult, let me tell you this. I have heard all the possible shit that you can listen to. I have lived a lot. I have been in a lot of crazy situations. So, and I don't get offended easily. One of the things that really annoys me, like I said before, is stupidity. If someone is dumb, okay, you can annoy me. Or if I'm in traffic in my car and you do some shit. No, these types of things annoy me. But this, put a mean comment because you think he is going to get mad and answering this. No, don't waste your time. But I will tell you this: try to watch the news from other countries. Okay, the Japanese channels, they have TV channels in English or translated to English, and there are subtitles, of course. Especially in YouTube right now, you can put subtitles, or you can use that dreadful auto sub that is absolutely disgusting, and I detest it. But you can use that to understand something. But watch Euronews, the channel that I use a lot here in my channel. Watch German news. Watch French news. Watch Portuguese news, Spanish news, Italian news, whatever. But don't watch that shit. It's brain rot. When I hear a person say that Donald Trump has and the Republicans have transformed their lives into an absolute horror, and people say they are not going to vote Democrats because they are Democrats, they are communists or some shit like that. I don't really know what to say to a person like that. You are willing to vote, but then again, they voted for a man that said that day one he would be a dictator. Well, sorry, folks. I just had to interrupt a bit because of my allergies to the heat. But I would tell you, please watch news from other parts of the world, especially from Europe. And I'm not talking about the UK because, unfortunately, the UK has similar problems like you have with the news right now. 90% of what comes out of the UK is compromise. But still, they don't lie. They just either omit, or, for example, they give a big news flash, big words, saying something completely different of what they are talking about, and they are very biased because the media is the property of lobby groups. They have their own issues, unfortunately, because the UK used to be a more or less normal place, and after Brexit and right now it's a bloody mess. But it's not the mess that you Americans think. It's a mess because of people like Nigel Farage, like Reform, like the other guys that are even more extremist than Reform and all of that, and because of the stupidity of the system itself. But like I said in my stream, I want to make a dedicated video or stream to talk about the UK. Now, I'm going to end this by saying that I probably am not going to watch what I watched in Foxnews again, because it's so mentally straining to you. First of all, they scream. They always talk with this sense of urgency that perhaps will work with the intended public. But that for an European, it's so annoying. You know, they would not be able. Usually you go to a cafe or restaurant here, but especially a cafe, and they will have the TV on. Usually on a news channel, perhaps in a sports channel, especially when there are matches of the National Cup or whatever, or football. Okay, they will have it on TV, and sometimes it will be loud, and people will be talking about it or something like that. But they don't have lunatics screaming at you from the TV screen. I I really cannot understand how someone, for example, how can you be at home, you know, and sometimes you do what I do. Right now, I don't watch much TV. I have I prefer to use the computer. No, I put it on YouTube, on music, or in a documentary, or perhaps in some of the stuff that I'm working on or learning about. I'm refurbishing my German. I'm trying to learn two more languages that I'll talk about after in the future. But I like to learn. But what I'm trying to tell you is that usually you can have the TV or the computer on or whatever, just have that background sound while you are doing something. Okay, and I don't understand how can a normal person, normal human being, would have that shit turned on the entire day with all of those people screaming so loud and with that urgency that I really don't understand it. But well, maybe I'm too European, right? Folks, this has been a long one, but I wanted to make this one. I'm filming this the 4th of August 2026. I'm going to publish it right now because I needed to get this out of my chest. Because my original idea was to watch a couple of news from Fox and then analyze it normally and do some videos about it, more than one video. But when I started to watch it, I realized how little it is there is to talk. Unless you want to do like the Midas guys do, where they talked about the specific thing over and over again. Okay, and you do multiple reporters about different things. That now, after watching Fox, I understand why they do this because they are pandering. Well, pandering. Pandering is a harsh word because they are talking with the same kind of people that are used to that type of speech in Fox News and other news agencies. But unless I had that idea of doing that, but then I realized I would only be repeating myself. I could sit here and tell you that Donald Trump, during the week, he attacks Iran, then he stops for the weekend for the Dow to go up and he can hand some money. And I could tell you that right now they don't have enough missiles to continue to bomb Iran. The reserves are getting critical. You know, each day you could have a video about it. But the truth is, you would only be repeating yourself because this is like a long stream of stupidity. Really. And I don't want to waste my time with it. There are so many things to talk about. There is climate change. There is European policies. Okay, and I'm including in European policies in European news, United Kingdom, of course, including all of that. There are more interesting places to talk about, like Canada and Japan. Oh, by the way, you saw what they did. They propped up the Japanese yen because the Japanese hold a lot of American debt. You didn't understand why they did it. They did it to reinforce the yen towards the euro, but it completely backfired. And good for the Japanese. Okay, good for the Japanese. They were needing that little push. But my advice to the Japanese people that I like, you know, I like your culture. I told you I was in touch with it since I was very young. I love your cuisine. I love a lot of aspects from your culture. Uh, the way that you worship in Shinto is a lot similar to what I learned in my pagan side of education. But Japan needs to be a bit more smart about this. You have friends elsewhere. You have friends in Europe. You can even consider South Korea a friend. With all the history that you have, I know. But Japan, you need to move forward. Japan, you really need to move forward. You cannot let yourself be caught when the title falls. But this is just my personal opinion. I don't have enough knowledge to make a dedicated video about it or to go into it deeply. But this is this prop up of the end. It was basically an economic move, and in the European market, it had zero impact because we have isolated. We have a central bank that takes care of those types of things. And again, this is no effing paradise, but it's better than being in the United States. Let me tell you that. Now, my friends, thank you very much if you had the patience to endure more than 1 hour of me ranting away. I hope you liked this video. I'm going to try to make a couple more videos to drop over the week, but you know it's hard. Sorry, let me just sit upright. You know it's hard with work, with family issues, with all of that has been going on. Sometimes it's a bit hard, but I will continue to try. You know, I like this. I like to talk with you. I like to make videos, and I hope that you like to listen to me. Okay. Now, folks, thank you very much for having the patience to deal with my ranting, and I hope to catch you all in the next one. Have yourselves a great day or a great